Kitchen. Today I am making Swiss steak. Now I've had a lot of people asking me for a really good recipe, so this is my version and I'm just going to get started here. So first things first is, well, I'm going to be doing it in a crock pot. So I turned this on probably about 15-20 minutes ago, so it's pretty hot. So is what I'm going to want to do first is I'm going to want to put in about 4 cups of water. And this is a 2-cup Pyrex, so we'll put about 4 cups in here. And like I said, it's pretty hot, so it's sizzling as I'm putting the water in. So, alright, so we've got about 4 cups in there. And you know what? I think I'm going to put 6 cups in because this is going to be quite a big batch. So, alright, so we got 6 cups of water. And I've got 5 bouillon cubes here that I'm going to stick in. And then also I have a package of Lipton onion soup mix. So we're going to put that in. Give that a good mix here. And then also to this, we are going to put in 1 jar, and it's 14 ounces of pizza sauce. Yeah, I know you're going, really? Pizza sauce? But yeah, usually a lot of people put like tomato sauce or ketchup in their Swiss steak. But I like putting the pizza sauce in it because it's got a lot of good ingredients. Tomato puree, diced tomatoes and juice. It's also got some Parmesan cheese in it, some Romano cheese in it. So it makes it a really good flavor. So we're just going to pour that in there. Put a little bit of water in our jar here to get most of that sauce out of there. Because at the very end, right before about, I'm going to say about 5 minutes before I serve it, when it's done, I put sour cream in it. So with like all the cheeses and stuff like that that's in this and all the spices and everything, it gives it a really, really good flavor. So, okay, now we're just gonna stir that up a little bit and put the lid on and let that sit for a while we do our other prep. So right now I have probably about 1.5 pounds or so of chopped up steak, and it's round, so we're going to want to pound it. And also, while we're doing this, I am going to put on an apron because this can get really, really messy while you're doing it. So I've got my little apron here, and it'll protect my clothes from getting so dirty. And not only that, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I make a mess when I'm cooking. So this is a good thing. Okay, so right now I've got probably about maybe a cup and a half of flour in here. And I'm just gonna dump it out right here on my counter. Because is what you're gonna want to do, you're gonna want to pound your flour into your steak. So, and then I'm going to put some salt and pepper in our flour. Probably maybe about a teaspoon or so. And we're just going to mix it around a little bit here. And then you're going to want to take your meat, and I just lay it in my flour and turn it over a few times so it gets coated with the flour. And I don't know, I probably have maybe 15-20 pieces here or so. And it don't matter how like big or small you cut them up. I like to kind of cut them up a little bit in small pieces like this, because when I'm putting the flour into the meat, um, they like tend to get a little bigger on you. So, alrighty. And this is a pretty simple recipe too. I think you guys will really like this. Like I said, I've been having a lot of people ask me for a good recipe for Swiss steak. So I think you guys will really like this. And I hope everybody had a good Mother's Day. I don't know if you tuned in to my live or not with my daughter on Mother's Day, but we had a really good fun time and gave away a couple of quilts and a basket for Mother's Day. And I'm sure everybody who won really going to be excited when they get their stuff in the mail. So, but everybody got a hold of me and we exchanged information. So they should be getting their stuff here really, really soon. Oh my goodness. Like I said, this is really, really messy. So that's why I put my my apron on. Because like I said, if you guys have seen my videos, there's some of them that are just terrible. I shouldn't say terrible, but they're like, I make a mess, but you know, the food that comes out of my messy making is really, really good. So everybody who's ever tried anything that I've made, I've gotten lots of comments on how good it all turned out, and so that really makes me happy. So alright, so now I don't have, now usually you do this like with a meat mallet. Now I don't have one, so there's other things that you can do or that you can use to put all your flour in your meat and flatten it out instead of having a meat mallet. So we're just going to go ahead here, and I'm going to just start. This right here is a Pyrex glass cup here that I use for my measuring, but it works really good to flatten out meat. So what I do is I just take it and put my flour on the meat, and I just sit and I pound the flour into my meat, and then I'll turn it over. The same thing, and like I said, I'm making a mess. You can see all the flour going everywhere. But that's okay, because it's cleanable, right? So anyways, like I said, you know, once you start pounding your meat and the flour into your meat, they tend to go out pretty big on you. So that's a good thing. So, and to each piece, you know, like I said, it don't matter how big, just however big you want your meat in your Swiss steak. So, but just kind of flatten it out a little bit like that, and there's your slices for your Swiss steak. And this does take, you know, I usually let it cook for at least 4 hours, but you can cook it for like as little as 2. If you're going to use round steak like I'm using, it might take maybe a cup, you know, more than just a couple of hours. Usually I will do this in the morning and put it on in the crock pot and let it sit for at least, and cook for at least 4 or 5 hours. So, and I don't know, with Swiss steak, it seems like the longer you cook it, the better it is. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But yeah. But you know, you just want to cook it until it gets tender. It's usually, like I said, usually on high, it'll take a couple hours. So. And I did have a meat mallet. I have no clue where it went to. meat mallet. And I thought, oh, I'll bet you I left it in the camper, the last one we sold. So I'm just going to have to get me another one. So, but this works just as well, you know, and you can also use other stuff too if you don't have something like this that's heavy that you can use that you don't think is going to break. You could also use, I've used a rolling pin before. I've used a cast iron pan. My husband has lots of cast iron, so I've used that before too. But the cast iron pans seem to be really, really heavy, and this seems to do the trick. So we're almost done here. Okay, anyways, I am going to finish doing this and clean up, and I will be right back. Okay, we are back, and I am all done dredging our meat in the flour. And is what I'm going to do next is I have my pan here that I'm going to add some olive oil to, probably at least at least 2 or 3 tablespoons here. Because once I start putting our steak into the pan, because it's so coated with flour, it is going to get dry in there. I might even have to add a little bit more. So we're going to put this on about medium heat or so, and the bottom coated really good, and we're going to lay our pieces of meat down. And we're going to fry them up until they get brown on each side. And put them in our crock pot when we're done. But we have a few other ingredients also that I'm going to add to this. I've got some fresh mushrooms over here, and also some onions and some peppers that I got. Instead of just buying the big green and red and yellow peppers, I just went and bought a thing of the mini ones, and they taste just as good. So we're going to be using them. And what I did is I just diced them up, and that's probably about a cup or so in there. And also I have a cup of diced up onions that we're going to put in here. And now this shouldn't take too long at all because they are small pieces. So we just want to get them browned on both sides. And also, I'm doing another quilt auction. So I'm going to be showing you guys the quilt that I'm going to be putting on. And I'll put it on my bed and take pictures of it and put it on the community page. And we'll go from there and see how we do with this other quilt auction. I hope you guys like the colors and stuff of it. It's probably about a queen. I'm guessing a queen. It's not real thick. It's not real thin. Probably about medium weight or so on it. So I think you guys will like it. It's a really pretty quilt. I'm not quite sure the name of the pattern on it, but like I said, I have a book with a lot of patterns in it, and they name them different names. I don't know why they do that with quilts, but I've seen a lot of really, really pretty ones that people have made. Like friendship quilts. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of a friendship quilt, but that's where all your friends get together, and in each block they'll either sign it or put a little saying in each block with their name on it. And them are really awesome. I've seen a couple of them before. But yeah, so anyways, I'm going to grab a plate here and put our meat on it. And like I said, you're going to want to put this in your crock pot for at least a couple of hours. because we're going to want it to get to where it's, you know, almost like falling apart. So, okay. So we are going to take the first batch out here. Like I said, this was a round steak. It was actually a pretty big one. So that's why I got quite a few pieces off of it. But I don't know. I've always used round steaks for my Swiss steak. I've never used any other kind of steak before. It might be better with different kinds of steak. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't. The only type I've used is round steak, but it usually always turns out really good, really tender for me. So, oh, that one was a big piece there. Like I said, it don't matter, you know, just whatever size you want for your dinner. Because usually when this gets done, I'll usually either pour it over, serve it over either mashed potatoes or rice. So, okay, now I'm going to get these browned up, and I am going to go grab the quilt and bring it back in for you so you guys can all see it, and I will be right back. Okay, I am back, and this is the quilt that I'm going to be putting on. Like I said, it is a queen. I will put the measurements in the comments under my community page. And so this is the front of it. I'm not quite sure if you guys can see this or not, but I'll hold it up there a little bit for you. And there's part of the end a little bit. You can see, I'm sure you can see the hand stitching throughout the quilt there. Right through here is some hand stitching, and it's actually all over the quilt. And the back is a blue, so you can see the hand stitching through the back of it also. So I'm going to put that on my bed and take a picture of it and put the dimensions and everything on it, and then you guys can start bidding on it under the my community page. So now this is the last batch of our meat that we're going to take out of here. And now with each batch, I done like 3 batches in here. So with each batch, I did have to add a little bit more oil, probably about a teaspoon, a couple of teaspoons maybe, per batch. Because like I said, when you have the meat and it's got all that flour and stuff on it, it seems to take up a lot of oil when you're cooking it. So before I stick this in the crock pot, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my crock pot, and I'm going to grab a little bit of juice, probably about 2 of these, 2 scoops, and put it in here. There we go. And we're going to come over here, and we're just going to mix this all up. Try and get all the stuff up off the bottom of your pan. And so just gonna mix this a little bit like this. Try and get all them goodies off the side of the pan and off the bottom of the pan. And what we're gonna do is we're going to add our onions to this. And that's probably about a cup of chopped onions. And so we're gonna mix that in really good. Put it up to about medium-high heat so it starts cooking. And then also to this, we're going to add our chopped up peppers. That was probably about a cup chopped up peppers. Mix that all in really, really good. And then also, I love mushrooms in my Swiss steak also. So I just bought the white mushrooms. They're already chopped, so we're gonna put, and this is 8 ounces, and so we're just gonna put these all in. And like I said, this is gonna be probably a pretty big batch. This will feed at least 6 to 8 people, I'm sure. So, okay, now this is starting to boil a little bit, and our mushrooms and onions and peppers are all together and starting to cook. And we're going to take our meat, we're going to come over here, we're going to stick it into our crock pot. And with all the flour and stuff that's all over your meat, that's in your meat, it's going to make this thicken up a little bit like a gravy. So you just let it sit and cook for a couple of hours, and test it before you serve it. Make sure it's done. If not, you're gonna have to let it sit, sit and cook for at least a few more hours. So, but, like I said, you just want to brown your meat up before you put it in. And like I said, you can use other meat than just round steak, but that's just what I've always used. So. And we're going to shut this off. Oh my gosh, this stuff is so, so good, and I love the mushrooms in it. But you don't have to put mushrooms. If you guys don't like mushrooms, you don't have to put them in it. Come over here and dump everything into our crock pot. And like I said, I've got this on high, so we're going to let it cook for a couple of hours. And I hope that our meat gets done within that time. It's Saturday right now, so Saturday night, so I probably won't put this out until tomorrow. But I'll put it out probably around noon or so it gives you guys enough time to make it, and if you want it for your dinner tomorrow night, I'll put it out probably around 11 o'clock or so. So we're going to let this go for a couple of hours, and when it's done, we're going to come back, and I'm going to show you how I make my dinner. I usually serve it with mashed potatoes. And the juice that it's cooking in, I use for the gravy. And then I just make a vegetable also, and that's a really good dinner. So we will be back, and I will show you the end result when it's done in a couple of hours. And I will be right back. Well, in a few hours. You guys have a good day. Hello everyone, and we are back. Now, our Swiss steak has been in the crock pot for about 2.5 hours, and I just checked it, and the meat is all nice and soft, and I think it's done. So anyways, usually I make this with potatoes, but I made rice tonight instead. So I just wanted to show you the end result here. On the Swiss steak and how I serve it. So we're just going to put a little bit of rice here on our plate, and also, like I said, at the very end I add some sour cream right before I serve it. So we're going to put in probably for this big of a batch, I'm going to put in at least a half a cup and see how it is. So we're We're going to put that in and stir it up a little bit and see if it needs a little bit more than that. I don't know, it seems like the sour cream just really makes it into a really good, I want to say gravy, but you know, like I said, you use the gravy and everything that's in it, the sauce, for like a gravy. Like I said, I usually make potatoes with it, so, but anyways, that looks like that's probably about enough, about a half a cup of sour cream. So we're just gonna serve some up here, and I'm gonna show you guys the end result. Put a few pieces of meat on here with all the vegetables and, oh yum, all the mushrooms and peppers and, oh yeah, yum yum. And like I said, this is like a gravy. It is just really, really good. So and I put a few green beans or corn or whatever I'm having as a vegetable on the side. And there it is, my Swiss steak. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoy this Swiss steak. You really need to try it. I think you guys will really, really like it. And if you haven't subscribed to me yet, please do, and hit that thumbs up button for me and ring the bell so you guys get my notifications. And you all have a wonderful night.